Hello. So I wanted to create some documentation for one of my projects using only MCP and AI tools. I did this already for um, the other projects, but they were web-based. I wanted to make it also for one of my desktop applications, and I wanted to extend it with adding screenshots. So I wanted to try two MCP servers. One is MCP Obsidian, another one is Peekaboo. MCP Obsidian is the one that take care of your Obsidian connection, and Peekaboo make it easy to do screenshots of the Mac applications. Actually, it can do much more. It can work with automations as well, but I wanted to use it just to make some screenshots. As for AI tools, I tried these MCP servers with the Codex, with the Cloud Desktop, with the Fire, and I will tell you what worked and what didn't work, and my backend result that I got. So first, we want to install everything and prepare for the work. For Obsidian, I had to install. I created a separate folder just for documentation, and I had the README where I have created a template for the project structure. Also installed two plugins. One is local REST API plugin, and another one MCP tools, in order to get the MCP plugin for Obsidian to work. And one important thing you will need is have this API key for later. Then after I set up these plugins in Obsidian, I needed to add it to MCPBundler in order to be able to add it to AI tools later. So what I did, I did add the MCP plugin for Obsidian. This is the one I used, MCP server for Obsidian. So basically it has the documentation how you can add it. So it written in Python, so I use UVX and MCP Obsidian, and also you need to provide the Obsidian API key. Host and port is not mandatory, as they will be the default ones in our case. So what I did, I created new local MCP server record, added the command, and added the Obsidian API key that I showed you before in this local REST API plugin. Make sure you have Obsidian open when you do all your work, otherwise the MCP will not work. Then next one, I did set up Peekaboo. So they have this website, and so I went to their GitHub and found that for MCP you have just to provide this command. If you want to use AI features, you can provide these extra end variables, but I don't find it useful for me. I just added the extra parameter for the folder where I wanted to save the files. I will tell you later why. I found it over here. So available options, I added this default safe path, and I put the one to temp folder. So I added another server, call it my class screenshots, the command, and then I added this extra key. Okay, so then in order to use all these MCP servers in our AI tools, I have to add the MCPBundler into AI tools. It's quite easy. I just look for the application I want to use, or if it's not there, just use generic client information. It's either the command or universal JSON that can be added elsewhere. Then for Yarn, I end up using that one for creating images. You need to add access rights. It will ask you for them when you start using commands to edit access from macOS to do screenshots or control computer, etc. So first thing I did is okay, so basically what I did, I asked to create a project documentation. Where is it? And it did a lot of different things. So I asked Codex to browse the source code and add user-friendly documentation. Before that, I asked it to create the folder structure using README file. So this is what it did, and it created pretty well documentation over here. I would say it's quite good, with a couple of additions from my side. What I wanted Codex to add, it did a pretty great job of creating user documentation. As for the screenshots, as I couldn't add the rights to Codex to create screenshots, as it is a console command, it failed doing that. I had to use some desktop application. I tried Claude at first, but it has some issues, as Claude itself started using some sort of virtual machines to run its own commands in a sandbox environment, and it has some problems with the files that were created on macOS operation system file system, and it had some issues with the copying items back and forth. So it didn't really help me. Then I used Fire. But it has some issues with the following commands, especially when they fail. So I had to scrap it as well, and started to use Yarn and end up creating the screenshots I wanted. Setting up the MCP servers was quite easy, as I had to add just MCPBundler to my this application. So it was quite easy to copy paste from one program to another one. And with the screenshots, it did quite great. I have no complaints. The only, as you can see, it can check which buttons available to click and which are not. One issue though was that the quality of the images were not so great. Let me see. So the screenshots it made, as you can see, they're quite, these are small and these are medium, but the quality is quite bad. I don't know if it can be fixed in Peekaboo or not. And it couldn't click on some elements. For example, in the app, I wanted it to click on the when I add new server, I wanted to click on these tabs, but it didn't work. I didn't find those. Where is it? So basically, it couldn't find those items to be clickable. So I did just a couple of screens instead of all that I wanted. One another thing with Obsidian MCP, updating the documents fails most of the time. So AI ends up doing a couple of tries of patching the documents, and then it just create a new version of the document from the ground up. Then MCP doesn't provide the project location on disk, and no ability to add files like images to the project, Obsidian project. So I end up just providing the folder by myself to the AI tool. Peekaboo, I told already, some elements can be clicked, and image quality could be much better. For Codex, it did a great job with creating documentation, but with images, it just didn't work. It will work for you with Playwright and with the web application, but with desktop applications, it doesn't work. With the cloud, I already explained that it run the commands inside some virtual machine. So it's not really useful in case when you create some screenshots in your local file storage in your operation system. And for Fire, I didn't like the overall stability. But in general, I would use certainly Obsidian to create documentation in the future. With the screenshot tool, maybe it's not that useful this stage, and if it will be fixed or updated in the future, maybe I'll use it, but for now I think I will not use it.